There never was one there. Democracy was only present from February to September 1917, and then it was gone.
But will external forces help, do you think, or not at all?
That's unlikely. However, external forces might be able to assist in establishing a zone of buffer states between Ukraine and Russia. In any case, drawing from Europe's 300-year history, starting with the Peace of Westphalia in 1648, countries have consistently aimed to protect themselves from what they considered an aggressive country by attempting to safeguard themselves with a series of so-called buffer states. For 300 years, it's been the same approach, the same actions repeatedly. Therefore, nothing new can be conceived. It is necessary to establish something like the Stavropol People's Republic and the Kuban People's Republic between Ukraine and Russia. This is so that when they try to invade yet again, and they certainly will try to invade yet again, this is why they should really get bogged down on the distant approaches. But the best course of action would undoubtedly be to somehow disarm them of their nuclear weapons, perhaps in return for sustenance. Then that problem could potentially be eliminated. However, I haven't heard anyone publicly state that this is something that should be done. Everyone talks, but they don't say it all. So it's hard to say.
Unfortunately, yes, unfortunately.
And Russia, as a large democratic country, will never become one. When Americans established their United States, they explicitly stated, I think it was Thomas Jefferson or someone, that because the country is so vast, no other principle but a federation could exist. Power must be delegated to local authorities.
And it is quite rigid there. The limitations are also rather severe.
Well, that's now.
Liberty and freedom.
When they first established it, it essentially functioned as a confederation of independent states. That's what it was. Something like that needs to be done in Russia, but again, nobody is voicing these ideas.
It's up to the people.
Well, people.
Israel created socialism, for example, so in the beginning...
No, Israel didn't create socialism. It made an independent state. Its socialist or non-socialist nature, there is a completely secondary matter.
I see. Well, they managed to create kolkhozes and pretty good ones.
Well, what do you mean? 1.5%, 2% of agricultural land are kolkhozes?
No, why? Kibbutzim made up about 30% of the agricultural sector.
Well, in him,
They were...
at the beginning of its creation.
Yes, but they really helped.
That's right, but the kibbutzim, they were established on a voluntary basis. It wasn't government coercion like it was in the Soviet Union. It was a voluntary foundation, and additionally, the kibbutzim were influenced by a religious factor. Right, but in the Soviet Union it was completely different, so it's not quite accurate.
It wasn't just religion there.
Yes, as a factor, indeed it is.
There were kibbutzim, for example, where people were established. The important idea was that, for instance, children shouldn't be raised by their parents because children would become
property of the community. It interrupted the Israeli a little bit, didn't it?